Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you have felt a restlessness in your soul, a quiet stirring in the depths of your heart, like something is just not quite right? You feel it in your mind, maybe in your body, like an unshakable energy that refuses to settle. It's as though the world around you is still, but inside you're moving, you're shifting, you're growing, but you can't quite put your finger on why. What if I told you that restlessness isn't just a symptom of stress or anxiety or the chaos of modern life? What if this restlessness is something much deeper, something calling you to evolve, to awaken, to become more than you've ever imagined? You see, restlessness is often misunderstood. We often treat it like an inconvenience, like a problem to be solved. We try to numb it, to distract ourselves from it, to smooth it over with temporary comforts. But what if this feeling is actually a sign of something extraordinary? What if that restless energy inside of you isn't something you need to fight against, but something you need to lean into? What if that feeling of discomfort is the very essence of a divine invitation? Now, let's pause here for a moment. Close your eyes for just a second. What if I told you that the restlessness you're feeling is actually a direct signal from a higher source? From something far greater than your physical body, your thoughts, or your everyday routine. You see, God, whatever you choose to call that higher force, that universal energy, doesn't often speak to us in grand gestures or loud voices. It speaks to us through subtle sensations, through feelings, through an inner knowing that starts with a quiet whisper and grows into a powerful force. That restlessness you're feeling, it's God. It's the energy of your soul trying to align with the highest version of yourself. It's the spark of your potential, urging you to break free from the limitations you've imposed upon yourself. It's a sign that you are not meant to stay where you are. Now, I know this can be a little unnerving. It's easier to stay comfortable, to stay in the familiar, even if it's not serving us. But listen closely. Comfort can sometimes be the enemy of growth. If you've ever been in a moment where you felt that energy calling you, it's because you're meant to step into a new level of your life. You're meant to transcend what you thought was possible. And yes, that can be uncomfortable. But it's in that discomfort, that restlessness, that God is moving you forward. This restlessness, this drive to evolve, it's not chaos. It's creation, it's transformation. It's a force propelling you toward the life you were always meant to live. But the question is, are you willing to follow that call? Are you willing to trust that the restlessness is not a sign to retreat, but to step forward? To make that leap, we need to understand something crucial. Every time we feel this restlessness, we're presented with a choice. We can ignore it, suppress it, or we can surrender to it. We can allow it to lead us toward the unknown, where real growth happens. And growth, by its very nature, is uncomfortable. So, why is it that we resist what is calling us? Why do we shrink back when we feel that divine nudge to step into something new? It's simple. Fear. The fear of failure, the fear of uncertainty, the fear of the unknown. But here's the truth. Fear is not the opposite of God. Fear is the signal that God is moving within you. The path to greatness doesn't come without its bumps, its uncertainty, and yes, its restlessness. But if we can train ourselves to embrace that restlessness, to see it not as a problem, but as an opportunity for transformation, we can begin to rise to the challenges in front of us with a sense of purpose and power. Because, let's face it, you are not here by accident. You are here for a reason. And every ounce of restlessness you feel is that divine force urging you to align with your true purpose, to step into the grandest version of yourself. So next time that restlessness stirs within you, when you feel like you're being pulled towards something bigger, when you sense that urge to break free from the familiar, remember, it could be God. It could be the very spark of divine energy calling you to transform, to evolve, to become the person you were always meant to be. Embrace it, trust it, and let it lead you to the life you've always dreamed of. Restlessness is often seen as a disruption, something that needs to be fixed or managed. We tend to view it as a symptom of dissatisfaction or stress. a feeling that arises when things aren't going the way we expect or want them to. However, this feeling can actually be a sign of something deeper. It's not necessarily a negative experience. It's a signal that there is room for growth, a sign that something inside you is yearning to evolve. When you feel restless, it's often an indication that you are outgrowing your current circumstances, thoughts, or habits. It's as though your soul knows there is more for you to experience, more for you to become. This restlessness is not random or arbitrary. It's a response to the inner call for change. Something within you is awakening, urging you to move beyond what you know, to stretch past your limitations, and to align with the next phase of your journey. In the natural world, growth often comes with a level of discomfort. Think about a seed breaking through the soil or a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. There's a force at work, pushing against old boundaries, pushing to break free and reach new heights. The same applies to us. When we feel restless, it's not a sign that we are doing something wrong, but rather that we are being called to evolve, to step into new experiences and new levels of understanding. Rather than seeing restlessness as something to be avoided or fixed, we can begin to view it as a powerful signal, a call from within, urging us toward our higher potential. Discomfort is often viewed as something to avoid at all costs, a negative feeling that signals something has gone wrong. But in reality, discomfort is frequently the precursor to transformation. It's the growing pain that occurs when we're stepping into something new, something unfamiliar, and it's an essential part of personal growth. Change is not always easy. It disrupts our comfort zones and challenges the way we've been living, thinking, and doing. However, without this discomfort, there can be no real change. When we push ourselves beyond our current limits, whether it's emotionally, physically, or mentally, we inevitably encounter discomfort. It's the body's and mind's way of telling us that we're stretching, evolving, and breaking free from old patterns. The resistance we feel is part of the process, a sign that we're on the verge of something greater. In moments of discomfort, we are forced to confront our fears, our limitations, and our self-imposed boundaries. This is where the magic of growth happens, when we allow ourselves to sit with that discomfort, to lean into it, rather than running from it. Without discomfort, we would remain stagnant, stuck in the same old habits and ways of thinking. We would never venture into the unknown or explore our full potential. The key to transformation lies in embracing that discomfort as a necessary part of the journey. It's not a sign to turn back. It's a nudge to keep moving forward, to push through the barriers and emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our true selves. So, the next time you feel discomfort creeping in, remember it's not something to fear or resist. It's the first step on the path to personal evolution. Restlessness can often feel like an unwanted burden, an unsettling energy that disturbs your peace and creates an inner tension. But what if that very restlessness is not something to be feared or resisted, but instead a divine invitation? Many of us go through life seeking comfort, familiarity, and stability, and when we encounter moments of restlessness, we are quick to try and fix them. We turn to distractions or routines, thinking that the feeling of unease will go away if we ignore it long enough. However, restlessness has a deeper purpose. It is often a sign that something higher is trying to get our attention. Something divine is calling us to step into a new phase of our lives. Restlessness is like a gentle whisper from within, a subtle nudge from the universe or a higher power, guiding us toward our true purpose. It's not a coincidence that these moments of inner unrest often arise when we are on the verge of a breakthrough, or when we are being called to make a significant change. The discomfort we feel is a signal that we are outgrowing our current situation or mindset, and that we are being urged to move forward in alignment with something greater than ourselves. Rather than seeing restlessness as an obstacle, we can learn to interpret it as a divine invitation to explore new possibilities, to evolve, and to expand into the person we are meant to be. It's a moment of clarity, asking us to step out of the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary, to trust that there is a higher plan unfolding in our lives. When we begin to view restlessness as a call from the divine, we can shift our perspective and approach it with curiosity, openness, and trust in the journey ahead. God, or whatever higher force you connect with, doesn't always communicate in the loud, dramatic ways we might expect. Instead, the divine often speaks to us through subtle sensations, quiet thoughts, and moments of inner knowing. These messages can come in the form of a deep, inexplicable feeling, an unshakable sense of clarity that emerges out of nowhere. It's not a loud voice that demands attention, but a soft, persistent presence that gradually becomes more noticeable as we tune into it. The more we learn to quiet our minds and listen closely, the clearer this divine communication becomes. When we feel restlessness, for example, it's not just a passing emotion or a physical discomfort. It's often the quiet voice of God moving through us, trying to guide us towards something greater. It might be easy to overlook these gentle nudges because they are not forceful or dramatic, but when we stop to listen, we realize they are often the most profound messages we can receive. These subtle signs are not random. They are part of a larger, divine plan that is unfolding in our lives even when we cannot see it clearly. The divine often speaks to us through moments of inner peace, a sense of alignment, or a sudden burst of inspiration. It's in the feeling of intuition or knowing that we are on the right path, even when everything around us seems uncertain. God speaks not in grandiose declarations, but in the whispers of our hearts, the sudden shifts in our perspective, and the gentle guidance we feel when we pause and truly listen. By learning to trust these inner sensations, we can open ourselves to the divine messages that are always present, waiting to help us navigate our lives with purpose and clarity. Comfort, while often seen as something desirable, can actually become one of the greatest obstacles to growth. We are naturally drawn to familiarity, to the things that make us feel safe and secure, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. However, when we prioritize comfort above all else, we can inadvertently trap ourselves in a cycle of stagnation. We find ourselves staying in relationships, jobs, or situations simply because they are familiar, even if they no longer serve our highest potential. Growth, by its very nature, requires us to step beyond what is comfortable. It calls us to venture into the unknown, to confront challenges that push us to expand and evolve. It's in these moments of discomfort that we truly begin to transform. The desire to stay in our comfort zones is natural. It's a survival instinct, a way to minimize risk and protect ourselves from the unknown. But without the willingness to move beyond those boundaries, we will never realize the full extent of our potential. When we are in a comfortable place, there is little incentive to change, and this lack of movement can lead to complacency. We may feel stuck, and that feeling of restlessness creeps in, signaling that we are ready for something more. However, it's easy to resist these feelings because they disrupt the stability we've come to rely on. But growth isn't comfortable. It's messy, it's uncertain, and it often involves taking risks. The discomfort we feel when we're being called to grow isn't a punishment. It's a sign that we are stepping into the next level of our journey. True transformation requires the courage to step out of comfort, to embrace uncertainty, and to trust that something greater is waiting on the other side. Growth is inherently linked to stepping into the unknown. As humans, we have a natural desire to seek stability and predictability, and there's nothing wrong with that instinct. It's part of our survival mechanism. However, it's important to recognize that real growth and transformation only occur when we break free from our familiar surroundings and venture into uncharted territory. The unknown can feel intimidating, even overwhelming, because it challenges everything we've built our lives around. But it's precisely in that uncertainty that the seeds of our most significant growth are planted. When we stay within our comfort zone, we may feel safe, but we are also limiting our potential. The mind thrives on routine and predictability, and while that brings a sense of security, it also keeps us stuck. We can't expand into something greater if we don't challenge ourselves to go beyond what we already know. It's only when we embrace the unknown that we begin to explore new possibilities, acquire new skills, and discover new strengths within ourselves. Stepping into the unknown requires courage. It demands that we let go of control, trust in the process, and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. It's not easy. The discomfort we feel when facing the unfamiliar is a reflection of our growth. That sense of uncertainty is a powerful reminder that we are on the brink of transformation, moving towards something far greater than what we've known. The unknown may be unsettling, but it holds the key to a new chapter in our lives. It's where we encounter the greatest lessons, the most profound breakthroughs, and the opportunities that will shape us into who we are meant to become. Fear often gets a bad reputation. It's easy to see fear as something negative, something that holds us back from achieving our dreams and reaching our potential. We fear failure, we fear judgment, and we fear the unknown. However, fear in itself is not the problem. In fact, fear is an essential part of the human experience, and it is often a signal that we are on the brink of something important. Rather than being the opposite of growth or divinity, fear can be understood as an indication that God is working within us, urging us to move towards something greater. When we step out of our comfort zones and pursue new opportunities, fear naturally arises. It's a protective mechanism designed to warn us of danger or uncertainty. But instead of seeing fear as a force trying to stop us, we can begin to recognize it as a sign that we are pushing beyond our limits, that we are venturing into new territory, and that we are being called to evolve. Fear is not telling us to turn back. It's telling us that we are growing. It's telling us that we are moving in the right direction, even if it feels uncomfortable. God often speaks to us through our emotions, including fear. When we feel afraid, it's not always a sign that something is wrong. It could be a message that we are exactly where we need to be, moving towards something that will shape us into the person we are meant to become. Fear, when understood in this way, becomes a powerful ally in our journey of transformation. It reminds us that we are alive, that we are growing, and that we are being guided toward our higher purpose. Discomfort is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs. We are conditioned to seek out pleasure and comfort while trying to escape anything that feels painful or uneasy. However, discomfort is not something that should be feared or resisted. It's a vital part of the growth process. In fact, it is often the very thing that pushes us forward, helping us break through limitations and discover our true potential. When we feel discomfort, it's easy to view it as a negative experience, something that should be fixed or avoided. But in truth, discomfort is a sign of transformation. It's the feeling we experience when we are moving beyond what we know, stepping into new territories, or expanding our consciousness. The human spirit thrives on challenge and change, and discomfort is the catalyst that initiates this growth. Whether it's emotional, physical, or mental discomfort, it signals that something within us is shifting, evolving, and expanding into a new version of ourselves. Growth does not happen in a place of ease. If everything were comfortable, we would never have the incentive to change or improve. The challenges we face, the discomfort we experience, and the obstacles we encounter are the very things that help us build strength, resilience, and a deeper understanding of who we are. It's through discomfort that we learn to adapt, stretch, and transform. The more we learn to embrace discomfort, the more we allow ourselves to step into the next level of our lives. It becomes less of a burden and more of an invitation to evolve, to rise to new heights, and to become the person we were always meant to be. Discomfort, then, is not the enemy. It is the necessary companion on our journey of growth. Restlessness is often viewed as an annoyance, a feeling we desperately want to get rid of because it disrupts our peace. But in reality, it's not something to be dismissed or ignored. Restlessness is a powerful signal that something within us is out of alignment with who we are meant to be. It's a clear indication that we are ready for change, that the life we are currently living no longer matches our true potential. This feeling is not a sign of failure or something gone wrong. It's a divine nudge, an invitation to awaken to something greater. When we feel restless, it's as if our soul is whispering that we are ready to step into a new phase of our lives. It's an opportunity to reassess our goals, our relationships, and our purpose. Restlessness can stir when we outgrow certain situations, beliefs, or patterns, and it serves as the catalyst for transformation. Rather than running from this discomfort, we can learn to lean into it, to embrace the unknown that comes with change, and to trust that it's pushing us toward our highest self. This feeling of restlessness is often accompanied by a sense of dissatisfaction with the status quo. It's a wake-up call, urging us to break free from the comfort of the familiar and pursue a new vision for our lives. It is a sign that God, or the divine force guiding us, is leading us towards something bigger, something more meaningful. We may not always understand the exact direction we need to go, but if we trust the process and allow ourselves to follow the pull of our restlessness, we will find ourselves aligning more deeply with our true purpose and stepping into the life we were always meant to live. When we feel the pull of change, it's easy to second-guess ourselves, to wonder whether we're really on the right path or whether we're just chasing an illusion. But that pull, that inner calling, is often the most accurate guide we can have. It is not merely a random desire or whim, it's the deepest part of us seeking alignment with our true purpose. Trusting that call means recognizing that it is not just a fleeting thought, but the divine force guiding us to become who we are meant to be. We often doubt ourselves when faced with the unknown, questioning whether we are truly capable of achieving the dreams and goals that seem just out of reach. But the truth is, if that calling has entered your mind and heart, it is because it is meant for you. The universe, or whatever higher power you believe in, does not plant desires or aspirations in your heart without the means to help you achieve them. Every seed of inspiration, every feeling of restlessness, every pull toward change is a reflection of the potential that exists within you. To trust the call is to recognize that you have been equipped with everything you need to pursue it. It requires faith, not just in yourself, but in the divine guidance that is always present, nudging you in the right direction. Trusting that call means having the courage to move forward even when the way isn't fully clear, to take the first step even if you're unsure of where the journey will lead. It means believing that you are not walking alone, that there is a higher force supporting you every step of the way. The more you trust that call, the more aligned you become with your true self, and the more effortless the journey becomes.